What is up, guys? This is Fritz, and I'm here today with the one and only Dare Lioh,
Good evening.
and we are going to explain what flow is today because I get a lot of requests to make a tutorial on it, and that is impossible. And so basically, I went around and asked some people what they thought a good definition for flow would be, so you guys would understand it a little better. And Dare Lioh here had a really good definition, so care to explain?
Yeah, so basically what I was saying is flow is something that helps you edit to be in a to represent it in a more professional manner. So for instance, when I'm talking about the flow, I'm talking mainly about the music as being kind of a major characteristic of flow itself. So how a clip moves and works with the music, and I emphasize the word moves as well because that's kind of the major part. It's kind of how your edit kind of smoothens out throughout the course of the project. For instance, Fritz mentioned earlier on about flow being a river, for instance. And correct me if I'm wrong on this, by the way, but if there's a boulder in the way in the river, it kind of blocks out what you're actually trying to do. So the same applies in an edit. If you have a problem or something blocks your edit, it's kind of like a barrier. So you need to make sure that it's constantly moving. Another point I mentioned was also the use of effect in your composition or your work project. So that's pretty much kind of my overview on flow. It's more about how the music and the effects give out the outcome of your product. It's not something that you can teach. It's something that just happens like that as you edit more and more.
Yeah, exactly. It's something you develop over time. Every new editor isn't going to have it at the start, but after 5 or 6 episode edits, however much it takes you, you will be able to visualize it in your head, and you will just be able to in the brand preview say that's good, that flows nicely.
Yeah. So I also get, I want to mention another thing. I also get a lot of messages as well on my Skype throughout the day asking me about advice on how I can improve on flow. And the simple answer to that is that I can't tell you how to improve on your flow. You pretty much improve it and develop it yourself. So my advice for it is to pretty much, before you even enter a composition or a project whatsoever, to just listen to the music that you've chosen a few times before, even 10 to 15 times, whichever. I can tell you that any of the editors I know in Dare or Fritz here, they always listen to their music before they even start an edit, which is true, if you can back me up on that one.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So it's really key that you kind of listen to music, kind of analyze where each point is to like record all the beats, etc., and what bits you can visualize and say, oh, I can actually make something pretty cool here, or I can actually do something that actually be rather interesting in the edit. So it's kind of how you visualize it, and that's mostly for kind of the upcoming editors, because I know most editors nowadays will kind of have that visualization, but for upcoming editors, I think that's what's most important for you guys.
Yeah, and for those of you who are just starting out right now, just like 2 little tips I have is like we said before, your edit should never stop moving. So that would apply to the Twixtor that you put on and the screen pumps. You don't want your it to be going at 100% and then just stop down to 3 instantly. You always want it to, if you are going to slow it down, do it gradually, and even then don't slow it down too much. And with the screen pumps, don't just make them pump up and go back down, and then it's just standing still for the rest of the time. Pump it up and then have it ease down all the way up until the next one. And kind of almost think of it as like a dance. A dance never stops; it's always moving. And every single dance move, every single maneuver that the dancer is making, it kind of flows into the the next one. So you think about it that way, it kind of helps out.
Yeah. Another way you could think about it is think of it as a game of football, or for you guys, soccer, I suppose. If it becomes boring at one point, the flow, the movement of the players or the ball, whatever, stops, it just becomes boring. So it's always good if you just keep that constant movement in your edit, as you would in a dance or in any kind of stuff you do every day. So that's probably the only thing we can tell you. This is the reason why there isn't any tutorials on flow at all, because it's not something you can teach to people. It's something that you create, and I think that's what people don't see about it, and need to see about flow itself.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if like I said, you'll develop it eventually, and you'll be set.
That's the main point.
Yeah. So anything else you'd like to add on, Leo?
I believe we've gone for everything.
Yeah, I think so. And just remember, like like flow is basically, the movement with your song, kind of like in conclusion, I guess, this whole thing. Flow is the movement with, like, everything with your song. And, that means, like the clips, the speed, the CC, literally everything that is a part of your edit moves in, like, in beat with the song. And, just kind of smooths one effect to another, and it just flows.
Make sure you remember the word movement. I think that's probably the most key word that you can use whenever you're editing. It's just the whole movement of the edit itself.
Yep, so I'm Fritz.
And I'm Leo.
And thanks for watching, and I'm out.
Yeah, peace out.